There's a hidden story in the Bible that many have overlooked, one so shocking that it changed the course of human history forever. What if I told you that celestial beings, known as the Watchers, defied divine law and took human wives, giving birth to a mysterious race, the Nephilim? And what if I told you their actions led to a catastrophic event that wiped out nearly all of humanity? These fallen angels weren't just rebels. They altered the very fabric of existence, and their wives paid a price that few dare to speak of. Who were these women? What happened to them? And why is their fate rarely discussed? The answers may challenge everything you thought you knew about good and evil. Stay with me as we uncover the forbidden history of the fallen angels, their wives, and the consequences that reshaped the world. The truth is more mysterious and more terrifying than you ever imagined. There was a time when the boundary between heaven and earth was unbreakable. The divine watched over humanity, distant yet ever present. But then something changed. A group of celestial beings known as the Watchers looked down upon the world of men and saw something they could not resist. Genesis 6:1-4 tells us of this fateful moment. The sons of God saw that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves, whomever they chose. These sons of God, often understood to be the Watchers, were not meant to interfere with the world of mortals. Yet, consumed by desire, they broke the laws of heaven. Among them, one stood as their leader, Simjaza. He knew the weight of the decision before them. To take human wives was to defy God himself. Fear gripped his followers. They hesitated, knowing the consequences would be severe. But Simjaza, unwilling to bear this sin alone, proposed an unbreakable pact. Upon the heights of Mount Hermon, beneath the vast and silent sky, they swore an oath together. None would turn back. None would escape judgment. That night they descended. They took human wives, crossing the boundary between the divine and the earthly. And from this forbidden union, something unnatural was born, the Nephilim. Giants who walked the earth, towering over men, possessing both celestial power and human ambition. They were warriors, rulers, and terrors in the eyes of mankind. But the rebellion did not stop there. The Watchers gave their wives knowledge forbidden to humanity, secrets of heaven and earth, of the stars and the elements, of war and sorcery. They taught men the ways of metal, the forging of weapons, the art of enchantment. And with this knowledge, the world changed. The hearts of men grew restless, their hands blood-stained, their spirits corrupted. What began as a desire had now become a catastrophe. The Watchers had reshaped the world, but at a terrible cost. The eyes of heaven turned upon them, and judgment was coming. The fate of the Watchers, their wives, and their children was sealed. But what happened next was even more terrifying. What was the punishment for their rebellion? And could their actions still echo in our world today? Stay with me as we uncover the chilling end of the Watchers and the wrath that followed. The world before the Great Flood was unlike anything we know today. It was a time when divine and mortal blood intertwined, giving birth to beings of unimaginable strength and terrifying power, the Nephilim. These giants were more than just towering figures. They were symbols of a world that had strayed too far from its creator's design. The scriptures hint at their presence in Genesis 6:4, where it is written, "The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown, but these heroes were far from noble. They were beings of untamed might, ruthless ambition, and insatiable hunger for power. Their very existence blurred the lines between the divine and the human, throwing the world into chaos and corruption. The Nephilim ruled with force, spreading violence, arrogance, and lawlessness across the land. Their presence was an open wound in creation, one that could no longer be ignored. As the world spiraled into darkness, God's patience reached its limit. The moral decay brought by the Nephilim and the Watchers could not be undone. The very foundation of humanity had been tainted, and so divine judgment was set in motion. The rebellion of Simjaza and his followers had not just changed the world, they had sealed its fate. The heavens would weep, the waters would rise, and the earth would be washed clean of the corruption that had taken root. The Nephilim, for all their might, would not escape the flood of divine justice. But was this truly the end of their kind? Ancient texts suggest that some Nephilim may have survived and that their influence lingers even today. Could their bloodline have continued beyond the flood? And if so, what does that mean for the world we live in now? Stay with me as we uncover the hidden mysteries of the Nephilim and the secrets they left behind. What happened to their legacy? And is there evidence of their existence still among us? The answers may be more shocking than you ever imagined. If Genesis gives us a glimpse of the Nephilim, the Book of Enoch tears the veil away completely, revealing the terrifying truth about these giants and the devastation they brought upon the world. Unlike the brief mention in the Bible, Enoch's account paints a grim picture, one of unimaginable power, unchecked ambition, and an earth on the brink of ruin. These beings were more than just giants. They were conquerors, devourers, and tyrants. According to the Book of Enoch, their hunger knew no limits. They consumed the land's resources, stripping the earth of its bounty. Crops withered under their reckless greed, and famine spread like wildfire. But their hunger was not just for food. It was said that when the land could no longer sustain them, the Nephilim turned against mankind itself. They feasted on the flesh of men. This chilling revelation from Enoch 7:3-6 describes their monstrous descent into savagery. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. The world trembled under their rule. Where they walked, fear followed. No one could oppose them, for they were born of divine blood and human flesh, wielding power beyond mortal comprehension. Kings fell, cities burned, and the very foundations of civilization crumbled under their violence. But it was not just their brute strength that corrupted the earth. It was the forbidden knowledge passed down from their fathers, the Watchers. These fallen angels had revealed secrets meant only for the heavens, the mysteries of war, sorcery, and forbidden arts. They taught mankind the forging of weapons, the casting of spells, and the manipulation of nature itself. What was once a world of order became a playground for chaos and destruction. The Watchers, blinded by lust and arrogance, had believed they were creating a new order, one where they, not God, ruled. But in doing so, they had doomed both themselves and their children. The cries of the suffering reached the heavens. And judgment was coming. The flood was no mere punishment. It was a divine cleansing, a reset for a world that had spiraled out of control. The Nephilim, once rulers of men, now faced the wrath of God himself. Their strength was nothing against the rising waters. Their voices, once filled with pride and arrogance, were drowned in the depths of judgment. But was this truly their end? Some texts suggest that the Nephilim's legacy did not vanish with the flood. Whispers of their existence persist in myths and ancient civilizations across the world. Could they have survived in some form? Did their bloodline endure? Hidden among men, waiting for the right moment to rise again? If so, what does that mean for us? Stay with me as we dive deeper into the mystery of the Nephilim's fate, unraveling the hidden connections between ancient legends, lost civilizations, and the echoes of these giants that may still shape our world today.